So I don't know about you, but I find it a little ridiculous that missing a leg in and of itself is not enough to justify to insurance the need for a prosthesis. So understanding insurance coverage is important because getting a prosthesis is not just a one-time thing. It's going to be more often than not lifelong care. Now, when it comes to different insurance options, you have, government public insurance, Medicare, Medicaid, or on the other hand, you might have private insurance. So Blue Cross Blue Shield, Aetna, Humana, United Healthcare, things like that. Also workman's comp or VA may be other options when it comes to covering a prosthesis. So how do I know what insurance would work best for me? Or what my insurance even covers. Most private insurances, they're gonna follow Medicare guidelines and standards. Medicare, and this is assuming your deductible has been met, Medicare will cover 80% of your prosthesis typically. And if you have Medicaid or a supplemental insurance, that will cover the remainder 20%. For your first prosthesis, it's gonna cover the socket, the componentry, the knee and or foot, along with your prosthetic supplies. So 2 liners, multi-ply socks, single ply socks, and then also 2 sleeves if you need it, depending on the type of suspension. Now, if needed, at the 6-month mark, they do cover a replacement socket along with liners, socks, things like that, all those prosthetic supplies, every 6 months if needed. Now for the knees and feet, those are typically only ISO tested for a certain number of cycles. So depending on how many steps you're taking, how active you are, you typically want to at the very least, get them looked at and checked out at around the 4 to 5 year mark to see if there's any wear and tear or if they need to be replaced. Now, an important note when it comes to providing prosthetics in a skilled nursing facility setting, because I have had numerous patients told that they were not able to be seen for prosthetic care in a skilled nursing facility setting, that they had to wait until they went home. False. Prosthetics are covered in a skilled nursing facility, even if they are in a Part A stay. And so what that means is no matter what, prosthetic care is covered under that individual's insurance. Now, this is a big deal because we've had facilities that have gotten a bill in the past for a prosthetic that would have been covered by insurance. And it's also a big deal because there are patients that are being denied care and delayed care. Couple caveats to that: socks are not covered in a skilled nursing facility. We're typically just writing that off. So if we're doing a delivery in a skilled nursing facility setting, we're just not charging or billing for the socks. And also, if the patient's primary and only insurance is Medicaid, they will not pay for a prosthesis in the facility, which is ridiculous because oftentimes getting a prosthesis is the tool and the stepping stone to allow that patient to go home. So oftentimes if we do have a patient in a skilled nursing facility setting that is Medicaid only, but he needs that prosthesis to be able to go home, we'll just provide him with a very, very basic kind of temporary prosthesis that he can use with therapy and that he'll be able to go home, and then we can deliver a more definitive prosthesis. Now with private insurances, most of the time it's the same. They're paying the 80%, but it really does depend on your individual plan. Also though, when it comes to private insurance like Humana, United Healthcare, Aetna, things like that, they are going to require prior approval, which takes a little bit extra time, but usually isn't too much of a hassle unless it's United Healthcare. And when it comes to looking at the specifics of your insurance plan, a couple things to keep in mind. You want to make sure that there is no monetary limit on what they will cover when it comes to prosthetics. So you want to make sure that there's no dollar amount limit when it comes to getting a prosthesis covered. And you also want to make sure that there's no sort of like time limit, that they don't limit the number of prosthetics, sockets, or prosthetic supplies that you can get at any certain time frame. And then when it comes to your prosthetic provider, some questions to keep in mind is, before delivery and at delivery, you want to ask, kind of have an idea of what that remainder dollar amount is going to be, just so you don't get surprised. And if you do have a remaining balance, do they have any sort of payment plans available? And if you do have a current balance, is there any stipulations to getting new prosthetic work? I'm not sure how prevalent it is, but I know in the past there have been offices that would not provide new work until their previous balance was paid off. How messed up is that? So what are some resources? Where are some places you can go if you need a prosthesis, or if you need, replacement liners, replacement socks, but you don't have insurance? One thing you can look at is, if you sustained the amputation in an accident and trying to get your first prosthesis, you can look into emergency Medicaid and see if you qualify. I know we've helped patients that way. You can also contact local prosthetic offices. Sometimes they'll have programs set up into place to help people that need a little financial assistance. You can also go to the Amputee Coalition website, and they will have a list of nonprofit organizations that might be worth looking into. And you could always look on different Facebook groups, Marketplace, eBay, maybe even possibly, but still recommend that you'd be working with a prosthetist and making sure that you're getting the appropriate parts and pieces that you need and that it's fit and aligned appropriately for you. I hope that was helpful. I hope it also empowers you so you know what gets covered. And so many people I talk to are surprised that yes, you can indeed build insurance and deliver a prosthesis in a skilled nursing facility setting. And there have been many therapists and many administrators that are appreciative when I take the time to talk with them and educate them about that, because that means that, they can accept amputees. I know some facilities that would just outright deny any amputees because of the past experience of getting a bill for a prosthesis. And if you've watched any of these previous videos, part 1 or part 2, you know that they are not cheap and that is not a small bill. And so it is freeing and empowering when they learn that, oh, we can accept amputees, they can get a prosthesis that can be billed to their insurance, and that we can work with them in therapy here. Patients love it when they hear that they don't have to wait, that we can see them right there in the skilled nursing facility and get started, that they don't have to wait till they go home or get out of the skilled nursing facility setting. Throughout the course of my career, have run into a lot of different scenarios and have been able to work with a lot of different patients in making sure that they can get a prosthesis and that they can get it covered and that they can get it timely. And so if you have any questions, like always, please ask and I'd be happy to answer them. And I wish you the very best.